I am not a robot. It's so funny. The piece isn't very funny. The piece is quite dramatic, actually. But what is funny is so many of us can relate to that kind of inner questioning and fear when we get these online little tests wrong, to test if we're not a robot, because they seem so easy to the human eye. So when we were having trouble with them, it does make us look internally and think, is there something up with me? Of course, in this case, that turns out to be true. And what starts off as a kind of humorous sci fi contemplation really becomes quite an emotionally heavy piece that is beautifully acted by all those involved. And the ending is just a wow that definitely will stay with you long after.
I am not a robot. I thought this was such an interesting concept, such a fascinating film. And to have like the whole concept coming from the fact that like those little stupid, like, I'm not a robot, like quiz thing, not quiz things, but like bypass, certification things on websites. The fact that like that is the thing that kind of sparked everything, I thought was such a fun idea. And then to really kind of lean into that and to go from like that's how somebody kind of like has the self-realization and that's how they become this kind of level of self-aware, and the fallout from that and what kind of devastation that would like lay waste to somebody. And especially when in this theoretical universe, right, that the robots don't know that they're robots, so they have assumed, like, it's safe to assume that they have the programmed emotions and the kind of general thought process of humans, and thinking like that if I went, she looked to be somewhere in her 30s, if I went all the way to 30 or in my 30s, which is what I am now, and I suddenly found out that like I was a robot and everything I thought I knew, every memory that I had as a child, every memory of a friend that I had before I met my significant other was all kind of fabricated. The kind of devastation that that would rain down on somebody, and the kind of panic attack and the kind of just spiraling chaos that I feel like would take up in somebody's mind upon accepting that knowledge, it makes perfect sense for how the film ended. I like that they did it. I think it was a really, really dramatic way to end a film, and to have all of that kind of culminate in this moment, and them both trying to like calm her down, but not really talking to her, talking kind of around her or like about her, and then just to have that kind of enforce all of the spiraling thoughts, and for her to be like, okay, I'm trying to make the choice of the free will that you say that I have, and to kind just to really follow that through. And like I said, like the spiraling chaos that I think that accepting the knowledge, it's not just learning the knowledge, but I think accepting that this is your reality and always has been your reality even though you didn't know it, I think would lead to some dramatic, drastic acts, which is exactly what it did. But I loved the concept. I thought it was so creative and so like such a fun starting point, and they just went to such a fun place. Like, not a fun place afterwards, but with using that as your jumping off point, such an amazing concept afterwards.
I am not a robot is the discovery of when a human, presumably discovers that they are, in fact, not human at all, but finding themselves being the most humane individual despite being a robot as they claim her to be. As we open up, we see something that we're all very familiar with, the Captcha that pops up on the screen to verify you're not a robot. And when that doesn't go through, it is a moment of discovery for this individual of they may or may not be, in fact, a robot. And they even go and take a quiz, which we've all taken a BuzzFeed quiz of some sort to find some sort of answer. And so I feel like these moments are really relatable. This documentary short was absolutely like just a wonderful watch. I feel like I got really immersed into the world and the story that these filmmakers were bringing. I was definitely just going through the emotional experience and the pull and back and forth of what this character was going through, as this character was essentially coming to terms with the fact that they are not what they have known themselves to be up until this point, and that shattering of a glass like that, that awareness of what your reality is, can be breathtaking at times. And that's exactly what it is for this character as they're going through this moment of devastation, and they don't even want to be here anymore, and they don't even get to have a choice in that. And so when we get to see the end, the way of that just inactive choice, and seeing them forced to live a life they don't necessarily want to live, is a heartbreaking ending.
This film is called I Am Not a Robot. This was an intriguing short. What set it apart for me was the brilliant storyline. In this high-tech world, humans can sometimes feel like bots, with so much riding on technology to communicate, and at times people feel detached from real human contact. The performances are excellent, notably the lead, who goes through a remarkable character transition after being informed that she is a bot. The actor playing the boyfriend also reveals a real sense of guilt and unease throughout the film, as the relationship has been built on a lie. Excellent mobile camera work and perfect office locations. Well done.